Your Eminence, Archbishop Dimitrios, revered Metropolitans, Your Grace, Reverend Clergy, fellow members of Leadership 100 and guests. Welcome to our grand banquet. Over the past few days, we were privileged to be inspired by His Eminence Archbishop Dimitrios at both the Bible study and lecture, to hear outstanding speakers, and to enjoy a remarkable concert, in addition to meeting in General Assembly. I would like to express our heartfelt gratitude to His Eminence Metropolitan Alexios of Atlanta, who graciously hosted us in his metropolis. Thank you, Your Eminence. I would also like to acknowledge our two founders who are with us tonight, Mr. Peter Dion and Mr. Arthur Anton. Tonight, we rejoice in our shared faith and heritage and to celebrate the achievements of Leadership 100 and the excellence of outstanding members of our community. We are truly blessed to have them among us. I will now ask His Eminence to join me as we bestow the Archbishop Iakovos Award for Excellence on our distinguished speakers.
Congratulations.
I'm accepting this award as an acknowledgement of the presence of the Greek diaspora women in leadership and as a celebration to the legacy of Archbishop Iakovos. Thank you.
I'm deeply honored. Thank you so much for this award. I'm very honored to be among all of you.
Good evening, Kalispera. On behalf of my entire family, with the greatest humility, we thank you for this recognition, and God bless Leadership 100, and God bless you all.
Your Eminence, Your Graces, it's truly an honor to be here this evening. Thank you. And as we discussed the other day, to all of your Leadership 100, continue to be a powerful river, a powerful voice to change the world. Thank you.
Would you please stand and join me in congratulating these wonderful honorees? And may I now call Ambassador Lucas Silas to the podium, please. As many of you know, Ambassador Silas has been with the Onassis Foundation for 15 years. And during those 15 years has been a wonderful friend to Leadership 100. And we are extremely grateful for all you have done for us. He is retiring. It's not an end. It's just an opportunity for us to acknowledge him and thank him and his beloved wife, Penny. And we would like to extend a gift and hope he will remember us as he enters this new chapter. Congratulations, Ambassador.
I was ordered to be brief, and certainly I will. I always will be very brief. I just want to, first of all, erase a word, retiring. That's a word that doesn't exist in my vocabulary, and I think it doesn't exist in the vocabulary of any Greek American. I know that you never retire, you always try. One very quick word. I'm teaching now at the university, and one of the courses is transition, historical transitions. And there's one word that I repeated to my students, leadership. Leadership. Not only 100, leadership that makes Leadership 100 a great organization. Leadership, of course, in the memory of Archbishop Iakovos, who created this organization, and leadership in the venerable name and presence of Archbishop Dimitrios, who made it, of course, the president. Well, thank you very much. I was with my grandchildren at the SeaWorld today. I was seeing the fish swimming, and I do feel like a fish swimming in a sea, in a wonderful sea, the Greek American community. Thank you very much.
Δόξα Πατρί και Άγιο Πνεύματι και νίκαια ή και εις τους αιώνες των αιώνων. Αμήν. Κύριε ελέησον, Κύριε ελέησον, Κύριε ελέησον, Δέσποτα και ευλόγησον.
Χριστέ ο Θεός, ευλόγησον την πρόσιν και την πόση του δούλου σου, ότι Άγιος η πάντοτε νυν και αεί και εις τους αιώνας των αιώνων. Αμήν. Bless the food and the drink of your servants. Bless all the beloved people present here, all the members of Leadership 100, our Homogenia, our Full of America, Greece, Cyprus, and all Greek Orthodox people all over the world. And also bless our ecumenical patriarchate, for you are holy now and ever, and unto the ages of ages. Amen. Welcome and enjoy the evening.
We are honored this evening to pay special tribute to Mr. Elias Lalaunis. Beauty, brilliance, artistry, perfection. This is the indelible legacy of Elias Lalaunis. Mr. Lalaunis, of blessed memory, was indeed a world-renowned Greek academician, artist, and designer. His contributions to the glory of our Greek and Byzantine history and tradition are countless and legendary. We are indeed honored tonight to have with us his wife of many years, Lila, and one of his four remarkable daughters, Ioana. I would ask Mrs. Lalaunis to please give us her remarks, and then I will ask His Eminence to join us for the presentation of the award. Mrs. Lalaunis.
Elias and I were very devoted to Archbishop Iakovos of blessed memory, whom Elias considered his spiritual father. I'll never forget how our children used to fight about who would sit first next to him when he came home for lunch during his visits to Athens. When he passed away, our dear Paulette had the very kind thought to send us his Bible, which Elias kept at his bedside till his last breath. She also sent me some what you call wallet-sized photographs of the Archbishop, which I gave to my children. Photos, I'm touched to tell you, they still carry with them to this day. Now, for those of you who didn't know Elias Lalaunis, I would like to tell you a few things about him. He was born in 1920 in Athens, at the foot of the Acropolis. He spent his childhood playing in the shadow of the Parthenon, immersed in and influenced by all the symbols of his heritage. During those formative years, the intense passion which he brought to his art was nurtured. He was the fourth child and only son of a traditional family, a third generation of jewelers originating from Delphi. He studied law and economics at the University of Athens, and just as he was about to pursue his postgraduate studies, World War II broke out in Greece. As an only son, you can imagine he had no choice but to abandon his plans and join his father to help him in the family business. Elias worked tirelessly for 17 years, expanding the business all over the world and creating over 50 collections of jewelry and objets d'art. At the age of 80, he handed over responsibility for carrying on his legacy to his four daughters, Katerina, Dimitra, Maria, and Ioana. One of his most celebrated achievements in his career was the revival of ancient Greek jewelry. He was immensely proud to present his art through his creations throughout the world and show the beauty, the symbols, and the history of his cultural heritage. Jewelry for Elias Lalaunis was an art of the highest level, expressing the meaning of life, the wonders of Hellenism, the glory of Byzantium, and the rich treasures of many other cultures around the world. At this point, you may be interested to know that his family did not approve of all his ideas. In fact, his father once told him, "My son, you're going to ruin us. Which woman is going to wear snakes, lions, horns around her neck?" But Elias insisted. "Father, they will," he kept on saying. "I promise you they will." And they did. They wore them and they loved them, and still do. You see, Elias had his vision and followed it through. He knew exactly what he wanted to do. He believed in his dream and was determined to fulfill it. In 1960, he started selling his jewelry in America. And when he opened his shop in New York, he created a special collection inspired by American Indian art to honor the country he admired and that had welcomed him so enthusiastically. Elias loved America and its energy, and at a certain point in his life, seriously thought of settling down here. He admired and respected the Greeks that had immigrated to this new world, achieving such great successes while remaining deeply dedicated to Hellenism. Elias's influence and recognition as an artist extended far beyond Greece. He received great honors in his lifetime, and for his contribution to the world of art, I'm very proud to tell you that he was the only jeweler ever elected at the prestigious Institut de France Académie des Beaux-Arts. He remained a humble Christian all his life, dedicated to his work, to his family, to his country, and to his Greek Orthodox faith. Values we all share. What I admired most in my husband was his humanity, his ability to love and forgive. Yes, for him, love was the greatest value. I'm grateful to God to have been his wife in his life's journey and his partner in his career for over half a century. By honoring him this evening in this distinguished gathering, I feel once again certain that he has not left us. He is right here with us tonight, inspiring us to maintain and further the ideals of our shared Hellenic heritage. On behalf of my family and myself, I thank Leadership 100 for honoring him tonight. Thank you.
Mrs. Lalaounis, Leadership 100 takes immense pride in presenting the Archbishop Iakovos Leadership 100 Award for Excellence, named for our founder, who in his lifetime respected and valued the friendship of your beloved husband. We acknowledge and celebrate the life, memory, and legacy of Mr. Elias Lalaounis and honor him, you, and your four beautiful daughters, Ioana, Katarini, Dimitra, and Maria. May his memory be eternal.
The Lalaounis legacy is a unique legacy in the sense that Elias Lalaounis has been an apostle of Orthodoxy and Hellenism through art. Unusual art, really creative art, really unique art. He was a genius in his field. Now, I had a question, however, a very human question. Would have been so productive and advanced so much the art of exquisite jewelry if he was not surrounded by his wife and 4 female children? 5 ladies in a family is a big thing for jewelry. If there were 5 males, I don't know if he would be that creative. So that's an important item, the role that human beings play in the life of a great artist. But there is something else. In the same family, on the side of the mother of Elias Lalaounis, the mother had a sister married to a person by the name of Zolotas. So it's first cousin, Xenophon Zolotas, a top economist in Greece in the years between the 2 wars and after the Second World War, a minister of economics and a prime minister at some time. And there was a 3rd member of the Zolotas family, which that was the first person I knew from the family back in the year 1946, and he was Zolotas, a professor at the University of Athens, professor of theology, a New Testament scholar. He wrote an outstanding commentary on the Gospel of John. That was a textbook for the Gospel of John in the university for years and years. So this Lalaounis kind of legacy has a number of branches that extend by the sides, which are not only art and jewelry, are advanced economics and advanced theology. I would like also now to share with you my very strong impression of the present leadership meeting. I heard from some of the participants that this was the best meeting they ever attended. That's something that is indicative of the spirit of the meeting, because we enjoyed in this meeting really a number of things that they belong to the highest possible quality. We have the information on IOSC and St. Nicholas, 2 extremely important enterprises and efforts of our church. We had a beautiful presentation on economics and on a personal basis by Mr. Michael Saros. We have the 2 Andropoulos sisters giving us another aspect from the field of science, specifically medicine. We have the unusual situation of an ad hoc concert with a symphonic orchestra and a chorus from the University of, the local university, with the full 7th Symphony by Beethoven, Mozart, and some other items, plus some Greek songs executed in a really perfect way. So, and also we have all these evenings, we have different orchestral accompaniment, helping dancing, not helping in discussing, because of the increased volume. It happens with things like that. You can't have everything. If you dance, you cannot talk. Something like that. But we have, nonetheless, every evening something. We are thankful to the Orlando children that came the night before that, and they offered to us this dancing, dressed in the local traditional costumes. So everything seems to have been so good and so well organized and so thankful. And we have, of course, an advancement of the whole cause for which Leadership 100 stands. And I am glad to announce to you that just 2 hours ago, we have the last, but not last, but for tonight, the last new member fully paid, completely paid. And this is due to their generosity and the wonderful initiative by Mr. Michael Saros, who thought that it would be a good thing to make his brother Haralambos a member. So we have an accomplished member of just 2 hours old. It's a baby, but a full-grown baby in terms of completion. So we are so thankful for that. We also, I would like to express our thanks again to Ambassador Lucas Silas. Ambassador Lucas Silas has been not only a top diplomat who served in Washington, served in Brussels. In other words, he served on the top spots of diplomatic activities. So we have Mr. Silas serving in the Onassis Foundation here in America, in New York. During his tenure, it happened something really unique. We had a series of exhibitions in which we didn't have copies. Mr. Silas managed to have the real objects that had to be exposed, and they were not objects 200 years old. They have the Mycenaean, the Aegean exhibition. We talk about thousands of years before Christ. And it's amazing to have them here in New York. Among them, we have the famous statue. It's not a statue, it's something from the Aegean, which then was something that impressed so much Picasso that one of the famous works by Picasso is just influenced by this type of thing. Now, we saw that the real thing of the islands 4,000 years ago in New York, this was the achievement done by Mr. Silas, not to talk about Byzantine, Middle Byzantine, Neo-Byzantine, and there was no end in bringing items for exhibition that are not easy for anyone to see in any place. That was a big legacy of what the Hellenic spirit stands for. So, the Ambassador Silas, congratulations and thanks for all these kind of things. Sometimes we take for granted a number of people. And this might be, if I may be bold enough, a form of a sin. Sometimes people think of sin as something that has to do with clearly defined sinful condition. But there are sins that are related to lack of memory. Have you ever thought sins we commit because of lack of memory, because of not remembering and recognizing people, taken for granted? So I would like to just not think that we take for granted the past presidents of Leadership 100 and also the present president, chairman, Mr. George Tsandikos, who has done, since last year he was elected, a truly terrific job. And of course with him, the people of the trustees, the executive, working all these years patiently and without ever being exhausted. So it's a manifestation of human quality and power that is always present here in this meeting and the activities of Leadership 100. We have thanks, very, very deep thanks for Metropolitan Alexios, the host hierarch. We are in his territory here. Leadership 100 really went even more actively and practically. This is why we have a big jump in terms of members from the year 2000 to the year 2015. We went from approximately 300 to 950. Now that because of the recognition of changing times requiring changing approaches. And so we are today. And today we are facing new challenges. The new challenges, allow me to summarize them with some numbers. Challenge number one is that homogenia, what we call homogenia, which is the Greek Orthodox population, which is augmented form with the mixed marriages. This homogenia is not the homogenia of 1980 or of 1950. In what sense? In the sense that at that time, as you go back, you can see the need to have something like a HEPA, just taking care of people that have been really in a very difficult social position. Today, a very recent statistic, it's to be precise, 2 years ago statistic, shows in two crucial questions, I mentioned that another time, allow me to repeat it, shows the following result. What is the percentage of the people of a certain religious community? Catholic, Protestant, Orthodox, Jewish, Muslim, Hindu, Buddhist, Baha'i, or any other. What is the percentage of the population that have an income yearly of $100,000 and above? We have a 47%. Half of our population has this type of income, and we are just number 2, above Episcopalians, above Roman Catholics. We are only second to the Jewish, who are by a percentage of 55%. In question number 2, percentage of the population of a religious community that has at least, the members have at least 1 degree from a college or university. Here again, compared to the way past, 45%. We are again number 2, compared to 54 of the Jewish community, to 20 of the Roman Catholic, and some other communities are way below. So you have something that shows tremendous progress financially and educationally. To me, it's a big challenge. You cannot take it for granted. You can take what we have this. We have this. It has been given to us by God, and it has been achieved by a tremendous effort for some purpose. It's not just a free gift. It's a gift loaded with tremendous responsibility. And I didn't mention what happens in the universities. There, we are number 1 and 2, alternating with the Jewish people. And I didn't talk about the millionaires and billionaires that are outside of this 47%, $100,000 yearly. It's another story. So here is challenge number 1. Challenge number 2 is what happened with the galloping increase of the Islamic religion and of the transformation of religions like Hinduism or Buddhism from some quiet religious life and expression into very militant religious bodies. Hindus today are very militant. They were not what they were 40 years ago, and so are Buddhists. So we face religiously something that is different today. And today we have the most unexpected, theoretically, in terms of phenomenology of religion, the most unexpected phenomenon, namely, to have violence in the name of religion, to the degree that we have it, and to the form of violence that we have it. That's a challenge. Challenge number 3. We have to know that in the 20th century, just a few years back, and in the 21st century, there has been a big, tremendous loss of millions of people, of Christians, because they are Christians, because they were Christians. Now, here again, because I'd like to be clear with numbers, and the number this time doesn't come from any other statistic. It comes from an official edition by Cambridge University. According to this kind of historically investigated research and established data, we have 30 million Christians murdered or killed in the 20th century. Think of the Armenian genocide, the Pontian genocide, the Asia Minor genocide, the 10 million Ukrainians under Stalin from an atheist regime, 30 million people, official number given by official data. And what we have in our century, a continuation. Just share with you a very interesting information. Patriarch Dimitrios, the one who succeeded Patriarch Athanagoulos and preceded our present Patriarch. Patriarch Dimitrios, as a priest, served in Iran, Tehran, as a priest, with a beautiful community, plenty of children. He loved children. He was teaching the children in the school of the big parish. What we have today, take Iraq. Again, a strong presence, not only Orthodox, Roman Catholic too. I remember some people from Harvard, they told me, we are going to Iraq. I said, to do what? Back in the 60s, to serve there because we have big communities. What happens today? They are just extinguished. They are not extinct, they are not there. What happens in the Middle East? Lebanon, Syria, Palestinians, Egypt. The idea or the myth that is floating around is that the victims are Muslims and Jewish. I can tell you. The majority of victims are Christians. They are neither Jews nor Muslims. The Christians are who are. The Christian element is depleted in the Middle East by thousands every year. So we have not to talk about this ISIS and what they are doing. So we are to be aware that we live in a modern time of a most advanced technology and the most violent forms of persecution sometimes. And here we are. And we have a beautiful evening in Orlando, enjoying a magnificent banquet, a human company of the highest quality, a peaceful life otherwise, perspective for a bright future. But we have to think that we face these challenges. And since plenty has given to us, plenty is expected from us. you are, most of you are from here, you circulate Europe, Greece, and other places, and you know how they look at us. And I convey to you the church image. And that's, I can tell you, every time we have something. Last year I was for 1 year as a member of the Synod in Constantinople, a 12-member Synod, headed by our ecumenical patriarch. I have to tell you, there was no meeting for 3 days in which there was no, in one way or another, a reference to Orthodox in the Church in America and the way they look at us and they expect from us. I remembered as I was thinking about tonight's event, I was thinking of a beautiful passage from excuse me, the New Testament, from the last book of the New Testament, the book of the Apocalypse. In the initial chapters, 2, 3, 4, there are the famous 7 letters addressed by God to the 7 important cities, centers of Christians in Asia Minor: Ephesus, Pergamum, Smyrna, Laodicea, Thyatira, Philadelphia, Sardis. In each of them, God speaks and brings to the surface specific items, warning the people and asking what they have to do, and telling them that the most beautiful things are waiting for you if you remain faithful to this mission of the gospel. When he comes to the Laodicea, we encounter a very unusual language. He says to the angel of Laodicea, as I call it, obviously the bishop and the people there, I see that you are doing something, but I see that you are neither hot nor cold. You are lukewarm. That's an unusual thing. And then he continues, you should have been either hot, fighting in the first line, or cold, being out. But you are lukewarm. You are something in between. Therefore, I'm going to emit you out of my mouth. That's strong language. So I said, the challenges and the blessings of God to all of us require a condition of hot temperatures. Of course not cold, and not this very attractive, sometimes excusable situation of lukewarm. I'm a little bit in, a little bit out. No, just go to the hot side. Because we have been given and we are expected to do that. I'm very thankful for listening. Let me confess that I have some experience in speaking to university audience, students, scholars, conferences, organizations here in America. I have to tell you that I'm impressed once again tonight by the attention by which you form this type of talking. I'm very appreciative. We have a total focus, glorifying our brains to be able to concentrate in spite of the distractions of the time and the condition. So thank you for giving me this additional item, and therefore I'm closing with another biblical thing, and I'm using it in a figurative way, applying it by necessity, but not exactly to me. There is in the Old Testament a case of Prophet Elijah, who after a tremendous conflict and fight against the idolatrous priests of Baal brought by the queen there, the not faithful queen, he was persecuted and found himself in a mountain. And he fell asleep, exhausted. At some point, a bird comes, an angel of God comes and wakes him up and brings him food. That was a story from, it's the third book of Kings in the Old Testament. And says, Elijah, get up and eat, because you have a long way to go. So Elijah eats, but still is in a condition of exhaustion. So he falls asleep. The angel comes a second time and wakes him up. Elijah, wake up, eat some more. You have a long way to go. Elias does the same thing, not yet recuperating, falling asleep again. Third time, the angel comes and wakes him up, gives him food. Elias eats, feels completely restored, and in the language of the Septuagint of the Old Testament, I'm not going to use the Hebrew text, the Septuagint, the Greek text goes like «Και επορεύθη εν τη ισχύ της βρώσεως ταύτης 40 ημέρας και 40 νύχτες». And he was able, through the power of this food, to walk for 40 days and 40 nights. We are going to carry the power of this food that we receive through this meeting. Thank you.